Yoga teachers, what do you say when you don't know what to say in a class? This is going to happen to all of us at some point, even with the most perfected sequence that we feel ready to teach. Sometimes in the moment, because we're still human, we're gonna, maybe blank out and forget what we were gonna say, or we see a cue doesn't land and you're like, what? This is a yoga teacher tip quickie. We're gonna go over some of my go-to things to do when you don't know what to say in a class. I'm Brea Johnson of Heart Bones Yoga, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, like, do all the things, comment. That really helps spread this to more teachers and get more teachers teaching with care, love, and kindness. Yes, you will likely, if you haven't already, forget what you were going to say or have a moment of just blanking out or stumbling over your words, because guess what? You're human. You're human, and teaching yoga is actually a lot of public speaking. You are talking to a group of people in a room, instructing them on things to do. And especially if you're a newer teacher, and granted, even if you're not a newer teacher, you're also multitasking and managing a lot of things at one time. You're managing what pose you're going to be teaching next. You're managing the different people in the rooms, and oh wait, I should change my cue. That person, it's not landing in that person, but wait, that person, what are they doing? And then what was that kid? Like, you have so many things going on. First and foremost, give yourself permission to mess up, to mess up your left and rights, to forget what you were going to say in that moment, and actually even allow people to see that, right? And be like, oh, I totally forgot my cue. Let's start that again. Silly me, right? Like, when we can be confident about our little mess ups in our classes, that is huge. It also mirrors to the people in your classes that, oh, right, I can make a mistake too, and the world won't end. And I highly doubt anybody's thinking you're a terrible teacher if you make a little mistake or two during your class. We're all human, it's normal. So let's remember that first and foremost. But here are my tried and true things. So one of my go-to things that I love and have always done, but especially did when I was an early beginner teacher, and I would forget what I was gonna do, or my cueing, or whatever it might be. I had that brain moment of like, freeze. Once we finish that one pose, I have them pause. We pause. And we either have the eyes closed or we have the eyes open, but it's like, okay, now notice how things are feeling in your body. So if we're in a standing pose, I'll get them to stand on their feet and be like, notice your feet. Notice how your legs feel, your body feels at this point in your practice. And then while everybody's tuning in, first of all, that's a great thing to do as a teacher. Offers space and reflection. And so while everybody's tuning in their own body and self, it can give you that quick moment to be like, okay, wait, what was I going to do? And just recenter, find what it was, and continue on with the rest of your practice. So you always have permission to pause in your classes. It's good for you and it's good for your classes, regardless of whether or not you actually forgot what you were going to say. Another one would be less is more. So we don't need to be talking in our entire class. Sometimes when we're really over instructing because we're very excited, or we're very thoughtful, or we're really, with well-intentioned, but we can sometimes fall into the trap of micromanaging our classes, speaking too many cues, offering too many poses, piling on all the things because we're so excited, and I love this class, and I love teaching, and here's all the things, blah. Paring that back and giving space again for your students and yourself, just to have some cadence, some flow in the teaching and the silence. You'll find that maybe you will mess up a little bit less because you're giving yourself a little bit more space to teach. Meaning you're not just filling in every gap with words. You get a chance to catch up for yourself, and then that gives your students a chance to be in their bodies and be in their moments, and let all your wonderful, beautiful cues and instructions land in their body. Another thing to do when you feel like you don't know what to say in a class is to come back to the breath. The breath is an amazing anchor for your class and for yourself. So if you forgot what to say about Trikonasana pose, let's say, cue the breath. Cue the breath. Just inhale, exhale, remind people to breathe, and then give them time and space to feel and sense and experience their breath. So don't just be like inhale, exhale, da, da, da. Just cue them to be like, hey, notice your breath. How's your breath right now? Reflective questions. Again, give you space, And that's enough. You don't need to say more quite often. Sometimes we might forget what to say in a pose, right? All your cues to say in Trikonasana or down dog or child's pose. And you panic and you go, oh no, what were those cues again? If that happens, that's okay. Here's the easiest things that you can always fall back on. If you're cueing reflective embodied cues, that's going to go a long way compared to more micromanaging cues. So I'll give you an example of that. So micromanaging style cues are where we're just like, press the feet into the floor, square your hips forward, shoulders this, left leg that, right toe this, and you're just kind of giving all these like very detailed cues, which sometimes there's a time and place for that. Believe me, I'm a big fan of that, especially because I teach a more anatomy-informed approach. But giving more embodied cues can be more generalized but still effective. Generalized meaning, so let's say it's any standing pose. Cue people to feel their feet. And not just press the four corners of the feet into the floor or anything like that. Invite them to feel what it feels like to have their foot on the floor. That's a great cue for standing poses. Or maybe again, you're in standing poses or seated poses and it doesn't matter what the stretch is, but let's say, hey, what are your shoulders doing right now? Notice if your shoulders are being held and with a little bit of tension or rising up to your ears a bit. Notice if that's happening and invite them to let go. Invite your ears to soften a bit. Not your ears. See, look at that. Invite your shoulders to soften away from your ears a little bit. So getting people to check in, where do I habitually hold tension? So maybe you taught a bunch of poses and you didn't give so many specific directive cues, but instead they were all reflective cues. That's super effective and such a great way to fall back if you can't remember or you freeze and you have a moment of going, oh, I don't know what to say. And it's also a great way to teach anyways. I like to combine both directive action cues to create an action in the body, and then these reflective ones too. So it's a beautiful interplay with that. Let's do a quick review and roundup. First of all, don't panic. It's okay. Don't panic. It's okay. Take that breath for yourself and remind your students to breathe as well. And then cue embodied cues. Invite people to bring more awareness. Have people pause in your class, eyes closed, eyes open, but give yourself that moment to reconnect. And again, as always, giving yourself the grace not to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. Give yourself the grace to freeze once or twice in a class. It's okay. Move forward with ease and confidence. That's something we need to practice a little bit more of course, but hopefully this video helped. As always, go into the comments, share your thoughts. If you have things that you like to do that you think would be helpful for other teachers reading, go ahead and add them to the comments. And as always, thank you so much for being here, and don't forget to subscribe.